Right. Pokemon weight kinda makes sense. Kinda. There's a lot. So yeah, that's Cosmoem, the smallest Pokemon in the game, weighing over 2,000 pounds and having a density that doesn't even fit on the screen. But you know what? That's kind of appropriate for a Pokemon that is an entire universe stuffed into the size of a baseball. Pokemon is full of a bunch of weird weight oddities like this, where they have insane attention to detail in some cases, but for others, it's just a mess, respectfully. Now, thanks to the Pokedex, every Pokemon has a canon weight that we can measure, so I went in, poured over the data, wrote a 20-page script, made this whole 3D thing, and now we're going to talk about it and hopefully show off some of the more interesting things about Pokemon weight. The average Pokemon weighs 162 pounds, or about 74 kilograms, which is about the weight of like a guy, you know, like a non-specific 6'4" man that's trying to bulk but is not doing a great job. But where it gets dicey with weight is not the actual measurements themselves, it's how it relates to height. Groudon is one of the heaviest Pokemon in the game, weighing over 2,000 pounds, 950 kilograms, or about a ton. And you're looking at that and you're like, damn, that is a ton. Bro's pulling continents, that's crazy. No. Bro is lighter than a 2014 Toyota Prius. By a lot. Like a lot. It seems like Game Freak had a deathly allergic reaction to putting any Pokemon above 1,000 kilograms, which is fine for most Pokemon, but then you get to the girthier end of the spectrum and there is just no feasible way these Pokemon are 1,000 kilograms. Like, it just does not add up. And don't even get me started on Donzo, Wishy-Washy, and Wailord. I mean, these guys are 30, 40, 50 feet in length, and they weigh a fraction of what they should. I mean, Wailord should be like 4,000 kilograms, but brother doesn't even scratch a tenth of that. So which Pokemon are the lightest? Well, it's these 6, and there's something funny about each of them. Gimmighoul and Flabebe are also tied for being the smallest in the series, so them being this light, you know, checks out. But then you look over at Ghastly and Haunter, and that's just weird. I mean, Haunter is like 5 foot, bro. Like, he's a big guy. So him weighing not only the same as Ghastly, but also being tied with all these other guys is just strange. But I guess I get it, because they're Ghost and whatever. And then Game Freak got a little cheeky with Cosmog and Kartana, Cosmog evolving into the Cosmoem guy that we talked about earlier, and Kartana being an Ultra Beast alongside the other heaviest Pokemon, which we'll get to him later. They're all about the same weight as like a deck of playing cards, or like a very medium-sized, unassuming tomato. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Biggest or Not Biggest. Today, we're going to be breaking down starter Pokemon. Who's the biggest? Who's the not biggest? Oh, this is the dumbest shit I've ever done. Place your bets at home. Who's the heaviest? Torterra or Skeledirge? Do like a little idle animation? If you thought it was Torterra, you're dumb as bricks. No, I thought it was Torterra too. It is Skeledirge. She was recently overthrown. The lightest is Rowlet, and if we're talking just fully evolved Pokemon, it would be Meowscarada. And what's really interesting is both Pignite and Groudle, despite being middle stage evolutions, are heavier than a lot of the fully evolved guys. Like, I think Groudle is heavier than like 24 of the fully evolved guys. So that's pretty interesting. What's going on? And now, give it up for a lightning roll! Brought to you by Whatnot. So yeah, while we look at the heaviest and lightest Pokemon of each type, Whatnot very generously gave me $500 to spend on Pokemon cards for you guys. If you don't know what Whatnot is, it's a live shopping platform where you could buy, sell, or auction pretty much anything, especially Pokemon cards. Especially. There are so many sellers on there that have some insane cards. Let me just walk you through some of the cards I got that you'll have a chance to win. Rayquaza, Galarian Zapdos, Japanese Articuno. Look at this Deoxys, dude. Are you kidding me? That might be the coolest card I've ever seen in my... I might keep that one. I'm not going to keep that one. I can't. I'm contractually obligated not to. But like, dude. So yeah, if you guys want a chance to win, go ahead, put your Whatnot username in the comment section. And if you don't have a Whatnot username, feel free to sign up using my QR code or link in the description. You get $15 towards your first purchase if you do that. But yeah, thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring. And that has been Biggest or Not Biggest. Good night, Dakota. Both of them. Good night. Good night. Now, unlike height, weight actually has an effect on gameplay. You got abilities and items like heavy metal, light metal, or the float stone that will double or halve a Pokemon's weight respectively. Or moves like low kick, grass knot, heat crash, and the other one that I'm blanking on. These are all moves that do more damage depending on either the opponent's weight or depending on how heavy you are compared to the opponent. And how do you pronounce it? Automatize? I can't read. I guess I can't read. It'll lower your weight by 100 kilograms and then double your speed. So that's kind of cool. But we can't talk about weight without talking about Skydrop, which is the weirdest move Game Freak has ever made. It's kind of like Fly, but with a little more kidnapping. On the first turn, you can grab any Pokemon and just send them into the air. They won't be able to do anything while they're up there, and then on the second turn, you drop them and do damage. But the funny part is that there's a weight limit, so if you try to pick up a Pokemon that's over 200 kilograms or 440 pounds, it just won't work. Which is kind of funny because it canonically proves that Rufflet has a carrying capacity of about 2.5 fully grown men. Welcome back to another episode of Biggest or Not Biggest. Mega Bayonet is the... I'll stop eventually, I promise. Mega Bayonet is the lightest Mega Pokemon, and Mega Metagross is the heaviest. Back to... Now that we've covered all the mechanics, how heavy can a Pokemon get? The heaviest legitimate Pokemon is a tie between Cosmoem and Celesteela, weighing 2,204.4 pounds or 999.9 kilograms. As I said, they do not go above 1,000. It's about as heavy as, like, I don't know, 2 adult-sized horses or like your mom after a night at Golden Corral. You knew it was coming. It was coming at some point. You knew that. But remember the ability Heavy Metal we talked about earlier that can double a Pokemon's weight? Well, if we use a move like Skill Swap or Entrainment, we can give that ability to one of these Pokemon, making them officially the legal limit of what a Pokemon can weigh. Now we're kind of getting to the point where if we want these Pokemon to get any heavier, we are going to need some less ethical methods. Generation 1 is a game that's held together by duct tape and Elmer's glue, and because of that, there's some glitched Pokemon in the code that weigh more than any Pokemon today. Like Missing No, who weighs over 3,500 pounds or 1,500 kilograms, breaking the 1,000 kilogram limit that we see with Pokemon, and weighing about as much as like a giraffe or like 1,700 hardcover copies of The Outsiders. Rip my boy Johnny. We miss you. We miss you. We miss you. Or a glitch you probably haven't heard of, H-Pokey, who weighs over 6,000 pounds, about as heavy as like a Ford F-150. So, you know, we're getting into Ford territory. You know, it's getting serious. Or about like 700 gallons of milk. But I'm going to keep it a stack with you. I mean, even with H-Pokey's girth, it still is barely anything, right? Like, let's be honest. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. The heaviest animal in the world is the Antarctic blue whale, coming in at over 400,000 pounds. And you might want to sit down for this. Even if you combined the weight of every single Pokemon in the series, you still wouldn't even make a dent in this animal's weight. You're sitting at a grand total of about sorry. There's over 1,000 Pokemon, and putting them at a total weight of a little less than 200,000 pounds makes them equivalent to like 15 African elephants or 60 mid-sized cars or like one just average whale. Like just one, not even like the big one we talked about earlier, like just one guy, like a middle of the road, very modest Weight Watcher kind of whale. Ooh. Oh God, I'm dying. I'm sorry. Welcome back to another. I don't know why it's so funny to me. Biggest or not big? Okay. I'm done. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Breaking news. Some Pokemon get lighter even though they evolved and got bigger. More at 8. So yeah, Kadabra loses like 20 pounds when it evolves into Alakazam. Gligar loses 50. Gligar, the small guy, evolving into a Gliscor, the big guy, he loses 50 pounds when he does that. Porygon loses about 9 pounds when he goes to Porygon 2, gains a little bit of weight back to, going to Porygon Z, but he's still lighter than the original Porygon. And I think that's actually really cool. I mean, especially with Porygon, right? Because it's like it represents technology getting thinner and more efficient as things go on, as time goes on and, whatever. So that's cool. That's a cool detail. They should do that more. More Pokemon weights I thought you might want to see, so I included them in the script. Rayquaza weighing about 455 pounds, or about as heavy as a commercial-grade refrigerator, and when he Mega Evolves, he doubles in weight, becoming about as heavy as 2 commercial-grade refrigerators. Eternatus is the 4th heaviest Pokemon of all time, being over 2,000 pounds, equivalent to, 2 vending machines or 625 laptops. Another fan favorite, Rellor, coming in at 2.2 pounds, weighs about as heavy as a pineapple. Alolan Exeggutor, coming in at 35 feet or 1,000 pounds, weighs about as much as an actual palm tree would weigh at that height. Kyogre, almost 800 pounds or about 90 gallons of milk, or maybe about the weight of like a big couch. Like I'm talking recliner, 3 to 4 seat sectional, it would be a hefty couch, but he's about that heavy. What other legendaries would you guys care about? I mean, Arceus, right? About as heavy as 80 gallons of milk. Actually, the lightest of the creation trio, with Dialga Origin Form being the heaviest. In a weight class of legendaries, Ultra Beasts, and Megas, Mudsdale stands alone as the only normal Pokemon with comparable girth. Coming in at over 2,000 pounds, 900 kilograms, you have a Pokemon that actually makes a lot of sense. It's something with Gen 7, man. They just kind of popped off with these weights, but Mudsdale is based on a Clydesdale horse, and those guys are almost exactly the same weight. Yo, what's up, big dog? How's it going? Dude, I'm so glad you can make it. Okay, so this is Gurfy. What's your current, where are you at right now? Okay. So yeah, he's 450, kind of on a cut. Yeah, an insane cut, right? I mean, a steel ball his size would be 62,000, 63,000 pounds. So actually incredible, man. We're so proud of you. If we can get some comments up in the comment section, let them know we're proud of him. Dude, Gurfy, it was so nice seeing you, man. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I know you got a busy schedule. I'll see you later, man. Appreciate it. All right, how do we wrap this up? I guess, man, if I could do a backflip, that'd be the best way to do it. But anyways, thanks for watching. YouTube thinks you'll like this video. Tell them I sent you. Okay, that doesn't make any sense.